There are two Pixar movies that are currently in development. One that is set to release next year, which I think we're going to get our trailer. It's directed by Enrico Casarosa. It is Gato. Gato is the upcoming American animated comedy film produced by Pixar Animation and Walt Disney Pictures, and it stars the voice casts of Mark Ruffalo, Lawrence Fishburne, and Casserella. Set in Venice, Italy, the story follows a black cat named Nero, played by Mark Ruffalo, who begins to question whether his life he is living is the right life. They began doing this movie after Luca, in which the film was being announced in October 2022, so a year after. The title originally was announced as Gato in June 2025, and the initial cast was followed up later this year. In this film, it blends in the 2D hand-printed style with the computer animation, and Gato has to be one of the most unique Pixar films that I think will work with seeing the 2D animation along with Pixar's animation team there. I think is going to be good, and I cannot wait to learn more about this movie at D23. But the one that everyone's highly anticipated on is Incredibles 3. Brad Bird had some comments about in the past of whether or not he would return to the Incredibles franchise, or like whether or not they will age up the characters for Incredibles. And he said, well, no, we're not going to age up the characters. In my opinion, I would love to have an older Dash, and the older baby, to see like they could have done like an interesting story where they're all getting older and the dad and the mom are getting up there in years and they're going to have to retire, and seeing Dash and the other ones having their own family and carry on the legacy at that. Some other things I think Pixar could announce is a Coco 2, because Bob Iger teased that the Coco 2 was in development last year in March. We also have one movie that's in the works, but I can't find any more information on other than the trademark, is called Ono Ghost Market. It's surrounded by the supernatural bazaar where the living and the dead interact, and it's especially with the Asian myths. It's a new project under by Domini Shi. And there also is a Monsters Incorporated franchise, a third film in development. This is big news because 2 years ago they announced that they were replacing Muppets Courtyard with the whole Monsters Inc. Factory or Monsters Inc. Incorporated town. And it was sad to see the Muppets go. I'm glad they've been relocated to the Rocket Roller Coaster. And I see a bunch of my friends who went to the rides there. I haven't been there yet this year. I look forward to going down to Orlando, Florida, and going to Disney World and seeing it for myself. But there was a lot of people mad online that the Muppets Courtyard was going bye-bye and they were going to build this whole Monsters Inc. land there. I thought it was going to be great. I thought it was going to be a great idea. I'm happy when I look at the side-by-side of the Monsters Courtyard and the Muppets Courtyard to seeing the vision of like how it will look, and them revealing that it's be a brand new roller coaster, but it's not the traditional kind. It's going to be like an inverted. It's going to go all over like the sliding doors of Monsters Inc. And pairing that up with the release of the new courtyard for Monsters Inc. along with the third film, I think it would do wonders. The last in for the Monsters Inc. franchise was the television show Monsters University. So Pixar has a lot on their plate and a lot of stuff that probably hasn't been announced will be announced tomorrow. I'm looking forward to Gato. And I'm looking forward to Incredibles 3. I'm looking forward to Monsters Inc., the third film, Monsters Inc. 3, when it comes out, Coco 2. And what else is in store for the franchise, we'll find out tomorrow. For the next one, we have the Disney live action films. For the Disney live action films, it's been a continuous debate of whether or not Disney should just quit altogether and stop doing them. If you look at the whole history of these Disney live actions from 2019, when they came out with Dumbo, they came out with Aladdin and The Lion King, Maleficent, I thought all four were great, especially that Lion King remade, made over all time. That Lion King movie, the box office, especially for the Lion King, it came out and it overgrossed to be over 1 billion, as well as Aladdin. Those two back to back on May 24, 2019, and on July 19, 2019, those two went back to back to make 1 billion for Disney. So they probably had the sound alarms like, hey, we can do this. In the past, when they had the Beauty and the Beast, that came over to 1,000. So in their heads at Disney's like, hey, we can do this. Like, let's produce more of this. But ever since then, Maleficent underperformed. Mulan, that's when the pandemic struck and Chapek took over and Bob Iger was out the door. That couldn't even gross over 100 million even at the box office. I know some of that was more on streaming, but then you look in 2021, Cruella underperformed. The Little Mermaid did better than the past Mulan and Cruella, but still not great. The sequel for Lion King, Mufasa, did not do well. We have the horrific bomb of Snow White, which I knew from the start when the whole dwarves were actually real humans and people were making fun, like, why they're not the comic accurate dwarfs. And Rachel Ziegler in her comments online, it just spelled for disaster. And plus, there's a lot of Disney haters out there, so it was just spelled to be bad from the start. That came out last year. That did about 205 million. But then they did over 1 billion last year with Lilo and Stitch, mainly because we never had the Lilo and Stitch live action, and it's like one of Marvel's oldest animation form of movies that they have not left touch. But if you look back like a couple weeks ago when Moana did the live action, this is the same Moana who did Moana 2 last year that made 1 billion. It did a lot for Disney last year. Like Moana 2 and the Lilo Stitch live action did great. But then they did the live action Moana, which when they announced this, I was like, they can't have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as himself. Yep, but that's what they did, is slap the wig on him. They're like, here, this is Maui. And that underperformed greatly bad. So it left a lot of people were like, what are they going to do? Well, what are they going to do is, right now in development, they announced that Lilo and Stitch 2, of course, because the first one made over 1 billion. Like, hey, let's capitalize this and do it. That's in development. And they haven't started filming for that. I believe it will be announced tomorrow at D23. But right now, that is filming is Tangled. I love Tangled, the animation movie. I think the cast of they found a girl who wasn't in a lot of stuff before with Tegan, and Milo from the zombie movies from Disney is set to do this. And it's directed by Michael Gracie. And Michael Gracie, who did The Better Man and one of my favorite movies is The Greatest Showman. So I have faith in the Tangled one. We could begin updates on more live action of a live action Princess Tiana, like they did the Princess in the Frog movie back in 2009. So maybe they would say, hey, let's do a Princess Tiana movie. There's also been rumors of like a Gaston movie, and then a Stepsisters movie for Cinderella. But the biggest thing I'm looking forward to tomorrow is, are they confident that they can continue with these live action Disney movies? Like, I would not do, like, say Incredibles 3 when it comes out. I would not greenlight a live action Incredibles movie to release a year after Incredibles 3. Like, they should have never done that with Moana, because Moana was dead in the water when that happened. And some of these animation to live action, they can't get the sequences and the scenes right in the animation to translate that to live action right as well. And I thought that's the downfall of the Moana movie. So I'm looking forward to the Disney live action portion tomorrow. And some of my predictions, some little rumors I've been hearing, is a live action Brave movie. And one I'm not fully sold on is maybe they will do a Frozen live action movie. If that happens and they release it around the wintertime, you're looking probably at a $2 billion box office for that movie. And it is bound to happen for a live action Tangled movie. Some other live action Disney movies, but not like a remade of the animation